Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Juridah Maidin and my registration number is 23H8621, and I'll be sharing a review of an article I accessed through Science Direct on ethical issues and concerns in supply chain management, titled Machine Learning and Artificial Intelligence Methods and Applications for Post-Crisis Supply Chain Resiliency and Recovery by G. Sakti Balan et al. That was published in 2025. All right, let's dive right in. The article really caught my attention because it deals with something we've all seen during global crises, like COVID-19 or the Ukraine war. How supply chain just collapse or struggle badly. The article explores how AI and machine learning can help prevent this. Basically, it's a literature review that breaks down how these technologies can help supply chain bounce back faster and smarter. So, what were the authors trying to find out? Mainly, they look at how digital tools, especially AI and ML, can help supply chains become more responsive during tough time. They also look at how these technologies can work together with things like blockchain and Internet of Things. And finally, they discuss how companies might need to change their operations to actually make these tools work effectively. Now, how did the authors go about it? This article was a literature review, so the authors didn't actually collect new data but used existing studies and case examples. They look at themes, trends, and gaps across different industries and regions. So while it's broad and insightful, it doesn't include fresh data from new experiments. The results were actually pretty impressive. When companies use artificial intelligence, demand forecasting got about 20% better, and reaction times to disruptions improved by 30%. Delivery reliability also increased by up to 20%, meaning more accurate and dependable order fulfillment. What's even more powerful is how artificial intelligence, when combined with tools like blockchain, Internet of Things, and big data, enable companies to gain real-time insights and even predict disruptions before they happen. This shift from reacting to problems to preventing them in a game changer for supply chain. Ethical concern. Now, here's where things get a bit more serious, the ethics. AI can sometimes make biased decisions, especially in emergencies. Imagine distributing resources unfairly during a disaster. Also, the data used could be sensitive, and we have to think about privacy. The article says AI should support human decisions, not replace them, especially in high stakes situations. I like to share with a success story, some real world example that really highlight how AI can either support or struggle in post crisis supply chain scenarios based on my thinking. Okay, let's start with the success story, Germany. During the COVID-19 pandemic, major companies like BMW and Siemens use artificial intelligence driven tools and real time analytics to manage their supply chains. These systems help them predict disruptions, adjust logistic plans, and maintain operations even when global supply chains were under pressure. This shows how digital maturity and strong infrastructure can really unlock the full potential of artificial intelligence. These insights were supported by researchers like Subramaniam in 2023 and Islam in 2025. But what India experienced during the second wave of COVID-19 paints a different picture. Despite having access to AI technologies, fragmented data, and weak digital infrastructure, caused failures in critical areas like medical supply distribution. Karupiah and colleagues in 2022 highlighted how poor connectivity and unstructured data flow can severely limit what AI can achieve. The main point here is clear: technology alone is not a solution. AI must be aligned with each country's or organization's capabilities, infrastructure, and ethical standards. Without that alignment, even the most advanced system can fall short, as Wang and Osho has discussed. Successful AI adoption depends just as much on people and policies as it does on hardware and algorithms. This now brings us to the critical evaluation of the article, which is the strengths and weaknesses of the article. One of the strengths that stood out to me is how the article draws examples from different industries, particularly pharmaceutical and automotive. It's not locked into just one sector. This gives the review broader relevance and helps show how AI can be applied in diverse supply chain contexts. Another one is the way the article doesn't just focus on the tech itself, but also talks about organizational challenges like resistance to change, lack of training, or structural issues that prevent AI from being used effectively. This is where ALSO's work in 2024 adds depth by showing how AI-powered business intelligence model can support operations. Also, the article introduced the idea of hybrid models, that is, combining AI with blockchain, IoT, and big data analytics. These integrations offer powerful predictive and real-time capabilities. The authors show how this combination shifts supply chain from being reactive, where we fix problems after they happen, to being proactive, where we can prevent issues before they occur. That's a big shift and a very practical insight. However, there are also some important limitations. First, the article relies entirely on secondary data. There's no new primary data collected, which means it doesn't provide fresh insights from original experiments or interviews. That weakens its empirical depth. Second, it sometimes generalizes findings without diving into specific regional or sector-based nuances. For example, what works for a tech-heavy German company may not apply the same way in a low-resource setting. Lastly, while the article does mention ethical concerns like bias and privacy, it doesn't go deep into what kinds of governance frameworks or human oversight mechanisms would be needed to manage this risk. A more thorough discussion here would have made the article stronger and more balanced. Overall, while the article is broad and useful, it would benefit from more detailed context specific insights and deeper ethical analysis. To conclude, the article really emphasizes that while AI and artificial intelligence and machine language have the power to transform supply chains after crisis, it's not just about having the tech. It's also about the readiness of infrastructure, the quality of data, and using these tools ethically. The big message: resilience in supply chain needs a smart balance between digital innovation and human responsibility. Thank you for your attention.